Alright, hello everyone. Today we're going to be deck profiling a new deck from set 5, and that is Varga, Rakshasa. I really like this deck. I really liked old Varga, and the new form kind of just lets you do more of what you were already doing, but a little bit better. So for the red line, we're playing the Vergila grade 1 simply because we do want to keep the cards in our hand. A lot of the cards we play in this deck are really good, and we don't want to be discarding them. There's not a lot of really good discard targets. I mean, grade 1s work because you can bring them back with the grade 2 energy cycler that we are playing, but besides that, I mean, this is pretty standard. I'm playing the Alcalibria starter just because I kind of like the art a little bit more, but nothing crazy there. Varga restands. And then we are playing, well, we would want to be playing 4 copies of Rakshasa, but unfortunately my last copy is still in the mail. It will be arriving here probably the day that this video is posted. It'll arrive, but unfortunately right now I don't have it, so I'm only playing 3 in the 1. But this will be replaced to the 4th copy of Rakshasa because we want to be able to get Rakshasa off as often as we can. The fact that they give this persona ride is really good. It being able to retire the front row and then being able to retire the back row is just great. You don't have to, you could definitely play Dragon Empire with this deck a little bit more, because it doesn't lose you the drives until at the end of the battle. You then counterblast 1, retire the back row, and then restand it, and then it loses drives. So you could play Dragon Empire. I'm not opting to do that, but this is an option that this deck gives you. Obviously, you then couldn't restand with its first ability, and would have to rely on its second ability, but, you know, that's just something that we have access to if you wanted to go down that route. Following that, we're playing 2 copies of Twin Pulse. This card is really good, but it uses energy, and so much of our deck is wanting to use energy, so only playing the 2. We are playing a couple ways to dig for some extra grade 3, so only 2 is just fine. And then we have 1 more grade 3, and that is the Drekasleif Dragon. It's just a really nice rigor to be able to keep on the front row that won't die to your Rakshasa effect, and then in the back row it becomes a 13k booster, but this is more for just keeping it in the front row and having it stay alive during your Vanguard swing, and then being able to put triggers on it and still having that 4th attack in case you don't see the next card we're going to talk about, and that is the 4 copies of Shura. So Shura is able to retrieve some of the cards back to your hand when they're retired for Energy Blast 2. She also gains 5k, and then when she's retired you can Counterblast 1, bring her back to the board as long as your opponent's grade 3, and then she becomes a 20k. So this is your multi-attacker, right? I mean, Varga already restands, so you're guaranteed 4 attacks there, but, you know, more attacks is always really good, so being able to use this is really good. This is more of what you want to use your energy on, but obviously you won't be able to use this until you're at grade 3 with Varga, because if not, her first effect doesn't really do anything. None of your rear guards are going to retire themselves for their effects besides when you're on Varga mostly. So while we get to grade 3, we do have some excess energy, and that's where we play Fallheart. It's really good to bring back some grade 1s. If we have any good grade 1s, this deck does play a lot of them, so that's what this is here for. Also, being able to have a pseudo good discard target is really good. Obviously, we don't want to be wasting our energy, but if we go second and we have 9 on our first grade 3 turn, that's a little bit too much. Even Shura can't use all of it, so this is a good way to just get yourself some cards, dig through the deck, and hopefully find some of your better pieces, things like Shura, things like Twin Pulse. So definitely still good. I wish there was, you know, a different thing we could play there, but I think for right now Fallheart's really good. And then for the last grade 2 is just 3 more copies of Boulder-Axe. It's just a really good card. It's a 15k attacker that will just kill itself and then draw a card, and then pair this with Shura, then this comes back to your hand, so you get to essentially keep 2 cards. It's an incredibly good card, playing the extra 3 of besides the one we play in the right deck, because the right deck won't call itself out, but just a really good way to dig through the deck, get some more cards. Moving on to the grade 1s, we are playing a full set. I know this is a bit expensive, but this deck is not really budget, but I'm playing a full set of Rokusei. Rokusei is just good against things like Impaldio, things that have like Ava as well, things that are going to intercept. This is perfect for, because it just allows you to negate their intercepting, right? It just says, hey, sorry, you can't intercept, and that will reduce the amount of shield value that they have, because against Ava you can remove almost 20k shield, and against things like Impaldio you can remove upwards of 40k shield if they have 2 of the grade 2 on board. So pretty good. And then it also killing itself and then coming back on board, or drawing you a card is really good. It gets itself on the off the board before your Rakshasa can wipe it, so this is pretty good. Then another grade 1, we are playing 2 copies of Impale Horn Dragon. This one is just a big booster for Varga. It becomes a 15k boosting Varga, and then you can Soul Blast 1, retire it to draw a card. Again, gets itself off the board, lets you keep a lot of your cards by drawing itself. Paired with Shura, pretty good. Comes back, it can just keep drawing you cards for a soul. Then we have 2 of Rakshasa's new grade 1, and that is Storm Slasher Dragon. When it's retired by the ability of your grade 3 Varga, you can call it to back row rear as rest, and then if your Vanguard is in the Malworm state, you can Soul Blast 1 and stand it. So it can either be an attacker that gets retired and then comes behind Van and becomes a bigger booster, or it can just boost a rear guard twice by boosting something like Shura, then retiring the front row and the back row, bringing both Shura and this back. It is also a 13k if your Vanguard is in a Malworm state, so it can make your numbers pretty good by being a 13k addition to your Vanguard. But only 2 copies of it because you can just bring it back and it will be coming back anyways. Then for the last grade 2 ones, we have 1 copy of Galnet. It just lets you get some extra card draws, or it just becomes a 20k shield. The defensive ability is kind of what we play it for. And then we play 1 copy of Summit Flare Dragon, who can also allow you to dig for some extra grade 3s that are a different name than your Vanguard. If you're on original Varga, this can let you dig for Rakshasas. If you're on Rakshasa, then you can still dig for Twin Pulses and the Glaive Dragon. As well as it being a defensive option, it is a 10k shield, and then if you're playing against any of the strike decks, it can be a 20k shield, so being able to give some defensive. You'll probably only be using one of these in a game unless you Soul Blast your things pretty quickly, but you'll probably only be using one of them. Most likely the Summit Flare Dragon, as you do want to guarantee have the Rakshasa, and that's what it's here for. Just a way to dig for that Rakshasa pretty good. And then onto some of the last couple cards. Nothing surprising, we are playing the Sanctitude and the 3 PGs because you need to be able to defend, and that's what it's here for. Then we play 1 copy of Defensing Roar, just another way to get some extra defense, get some of your cards back, stay alive, that's the goal. Get to your second grade 3 turn, right into Rakshasa, and kind of win the game from there with the overwhelming amount of advantage and aggro that you're putting out. And then for our Regalis Police, we are playing Radiance Caliburn, either to draw 2 cards and find some of the pieces we need. Maybe we haven't hit the Rakshasa, so we have to commit to drawing 2 cards, but mostly it's here for being a countercharger in Dragon Empire, which there really isn't one, so that's what this is here for, as well as being an extra soul. Not going to be as necessary. We do use a bit of soul in the deck, but a lot of those cards aren't as important. It's more of the CB countercharging that we care for. As for triggers, you're playing your Blue OT because the 9th grade is just really good. Being able to get back something also kind of helpful. And then for the remainder of the triggers, you're playing 4 draws to dig for more pieces. You're playing your 8 crits because you want to just crit your opponent with a restunning Vanguard. And then you're just playing your 4 vanilla heal. You can opt to play 1 of each of the effect heals, but I didn't opt. I'd rather just have the 15k at all times instead of having a 25k occasionally. This is the much better choice. But yeah, Varga Rakshasa is a really, really strong deck. I think it can do very well. And I'm hoping that this weekend I will be able to pilot it to another first place. Kat will be posting his deck profile tomorrow. He hasn't really decided on what he wants to play, but he is considering playing a Gandiva list that he came up with, or I'd say that we came up with a while back, and he wants to test it out before he gets Mask. He's not a huge fan of Mask, so he just wants to play the regular Gandiva package. I actually have the core already separated for him. So we will be building, or I will be putting that deck together, and then hopefully we'll get a bit more testing before we go. He hasn't really tested the list a little bit too much, but he really enjoys Gandiva, so he will be playing that. We will be both representing Dragon Empire this weekend. It will just be a normal tournament, won't be a cup like the last one, so probably do a very quick tournament report after the fact. We'll probably just do it in the car, and that way you guys can get the information for it right away and don't have to worry about waiting for us to post it on Monday. And then next week we'll see what we post. We definitely have quite a few decks that will be coming out. We have Flamji, we have Lyshafel, we have Raziel Vita, Lyles. Unfortunately, we're missing a Gabelius and an Anachronist, so we can't build either Lyle, but we are trying to get those last cards. But besides that, we have B Heroes. We'll probably be doing Eugene, Griandra. We have quite a Levadress. The cat does have Levadress pretty much already built, but we are just waiting on one more card to get here, and then he'll be good. But with that, that is everything. Wish me luck on my tournament this Sunday, and I'll see you then. Let's pray for the trigger.